the reality is that we're losing right now. America is losing to China. To this. I mean, I'm a black man. Last time I looked in the mirror, I'm a black man. But I just stand on what I believe. Yeah. And it's okay to be that way. There were videos, but CNN didn't show that stuff. Yeah. MSNBC didn't show that stuff. Nobody was showing the realities and facts of things.
Guys, welcome to JSlay, Made in the USA. I'm Jeremy Sladen, and I'm really looking forward to introducing you all to my next guest in the Culture War interview series. Quincy McKnight is a fellow Murfreesboroan who I've gotten to know over the last couple years, and I found him to be very down to earth. He's a guy that knows his stuff when it comes to culture, politics, and business. He's decided to take his life experiences and throw his hat in the political ring and run for Congress. I've said it before and I'll say it now. Black conservatives are among the bravest people that I know because they stand up for truth and values in spite of a lot of hate from the other side. So today we're going to hit some major hot button topics, and I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? This is JSlay in the USA, and I'm lucky and privileged today to, we're going to uncover some secrets. We're going to get to the bottom of what's going on in our country. This man just got off the phone with President Donald Trump, a week ago?
Yeah, a little about almost 2 weeks now.
We're going to get to the bottom of these conspiracies today with my man Quincy McKnight. Quincy, thanks for coming, brother.
Thank you, Jay.
So Quincy is running in the 5th Congressional District, correct?
Correct.
To be a congressman.
I am.
All right, and you're running against Jim Cooper.
Correct.
Right? Now, he has been at this for a while, right?
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. Been there a long time, and he served his time, and so I think Nashville and Tennessee as a whole in the country needs a new face.
How long?
I think he's been up there 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe a tad.
Are there no term limits?
Not for
there
him.
Should be.
Yeah, right? I know it should be. It's not for him.
I've really not run into a business person who's excited about a Trump presidency. The market was down for a while, the stock market. I don't know a single business that would want him on the board of directors or to run the company.
No, but he served Davidson County, Nashville, so it's just time for new things and new people and new faces to lead this movement where we're at now.
I agree. And he's the brother of Mayor Cooper. Mm-hmm. And I got to ask, did you hear about what happened this summer? And I think some stuff came out where he may have been dishonest about coronavirus, and I think they were doing like contact tracing with people. And if you don't know, that's fine. But it was downtown Broadway, and the bars were supposed to be keeping track, right? Mm-hmm. And there were some emails found behind the scenes between him and secretaries. And this is Mayor Cooper, mm-hmm. not. You know where I'm going with this?
I do. Yeah. I'm aware of the situation. I was not involved in it, of course. But some of the business owners down there shared their thoughts with me on it. So,
well, the long and the short of it was, I think the public was led to believe that lots and lots and lots of coronavirus cases had come from the bars being open.
Correct.
But then it came out in these emails behind the scenes like, hey, it's only 10, 11. Yeah. It just wasn't enough. So it didn't fit the narrative. But they did not ever announce that. Mm-hmm. And then when it came out that those emails, which were very enlightening, mm-hmm. hit the public, the story got smashed. It got canceled.
Yeah.
Even now, if you try to go find that story online,
you can't find
they've taken it off. Yeah. And the thing is, that would be breaking news. 10 years ago, that would be breaking news. Journalists who are doing their job would dig.
Yeah.
And they'd want a story like that, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Man, I think in those types of situations, our media is wanting to control the narrative. It doesn't matter if you're on the red side or the blue side. They want to protect the side that's protecting them. Right. And so in this situation, my personal thoughts are that we have to hold the media accountable. So if it's not out there anymore, we need to go do some digging and pull it up, because God knows they would do it to us.
Right.
If it was the other way around. Yeah. I mean, look at what they did to our President Trump.
Yeah.
So whatever they can find, whatever they can dig up, let's do it. But in Nashville, they know that they're surrounded by a sea of red.
Yeah.
And so I believe that facts need to be presented. That's the bottom line. And our leadership all the way from the mayor's office down to city council. They need to be held accountable for any action. I mean, even for myself,
right,
as a business owner, I would need to be held accountable for anything that I do wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when it comes to people's health, because
Yeah.
you lock down people for a year, tell them to stay in their house. They need to wear a mask when they go out. They need to social distance. That in and of itself decreases someone's immune system, because it's a depressing way to live. Right?
It is.
And you get out and you get fresh air, sunshine, your immune system blossoms, right? It comes up. And it just seems like whether you're red or blue, you would want people to be doing what's best for their health. Correct. So even if they're wearing masks, which, fine, but allow people to get out and be honest. Yeah. Be honest about, hey, if it's 10 cases, say to the bar owners, like, bravo, you guys must have social distance or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because it's, again, the business owners know what's going on.
Yeah.
Mayor's office doesn't. I don't care what they say, because they're being presented information. They're reading whatever they're being presented. They're not scientists. They're not doctors. They're not lawyers.
Well, we do know they have an agenda.
Yeah, whatever that agenda is, God will reveal it. I don't care what it is. So, but the bottom line is, we need to listen to the business owners there. They have the truth.
I agree. Well, Quincy, let me give a little background on Quincy, and I'll let him speak to his own life as well. But Quincy went to he's a fellow Murfreesboro. How do you say that? Fellow Murfreesboro. Murfreesboroian. I never heard that word.
The borough.
Yeah. So we both grew up in the borough. He's about 5 years older than me, I believe. You were 77.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm 82.
Yeah.
But Quincy and I have gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, and I think develops a mutual respect. I definitely support him in what he's doing. But Quincy went to Cornell, got his master's after getting a political science degree at MTSU. And then you are the founder of Covenant Pay Partners.
That is correct. That is correct.
Which seems to be, from what I've heard, to be a thriving business. You got multiple locations.
Yes.
Atlanta here.
Yes.
So you got to tell me, what's that like? Because part of JSlay is about maximizing potential in your life.
Yeah.
And man, it can spin out of control fast when you get too busy. You need to get good sleep. Earlier, I tried to offer this man some coffee and creamer. He wanted to check the label, he had to give it a smell, because he's concerned about what goes on in his body. Right, Quincy?
I am. I'm a little picky. I'm a little picky, and it's okay to be that way. So
yeah, it is, man. You got that's the temple, right? It's the temple.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, with running for Congress, which when is the vote for that?
Well, the primary, if I have a primary, it will be in August of next year. And
of
22.
Okay,
yes.
you got a while.
22, yeah. But the general will be in November.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're running for Congress. We're gearing up for that. We got a business that's multi-state with some pretty big partners. It sounds like.
Yes.
You got children, family life of your own.
Oh yeah.
So you're staying busy.
Yeah.
How do you keep it balanced?
Well, to me, you have to have a good team. I've learned that because I started out solo as an entrepreneur. So following your dreams, you crash or burn a few times, you'll learn a thing or two.
Oh yeah.
So you failed a few times, made a lot of bad mistakes early on. Whether they were good ideas, bad ideas, I learned from them. And so now it's cultivated to a very powerful team that I answer to. Because we are a team. And so I've got great leadership at Covenant Pay Partners that we are looking to just continue to grow the way we've been growing, because God has blessed our business more ways than you can imagine. And I'm very thankful for the leadership that I have, because I have a great president that keeps everything under lock and key and infrastructure on lock. So
did you say a name right there? Alicia, is that what I heard?
No, I said it keeps everything on lock. Okay. Dan Percy, he's my president.
Okay.
He's from Murfreesboro. Well, he graduated MTSU as well. So he's a little older than us. But Dan he keeps every single thing we have going in the right direction. And so it allows me to do this. It allows me to run for Congress and to focus on community efforts and to be a dad and to be the best person I can be. So, because when you got good accountability in your team, in your company, in your organization, it always makes the biggest differences in the world. It's just like one of the organizations I'm on the board with, the C12. one of the biggest things they teach on is accountability. We pray for one another. We discuss our company issues. We go into the heart and the meat of what matters and how we can become better business leaders in our marketplace.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that accountability. And, for me, as you talk about learning from the downtimes, learning from the mistakes. In my life, that's where I learned the most.
Yeah.
Was after those mistakes. Do you mind picking out one thing where maybe you kind of hit a floor and you're like, okay, we screwed up. Got to pick up the pieces here, and maybe something you learned out of that?
There's several incidences that can always reflect back, especially when you're dealing with people and yourself. So somebody's going to make a mistake along the way. But there's not one particular that I would like to go into.
Sure.
But however, I will say, from a general standpoint, is that the mistakes that we make now in business, that I've made in business, I believe it's almost been a result of myself not being focused at the right times. And everything starts at home. I'm a big believer in that. So if our home life is not right, guess what? Your business life is not going to be right either. You can put on a wonderful front, making it look like it is.
For a while.
Yeah. But eventually you'll crash and burn. You're going to hit something. You're going to hit that wall. And that distraction, whatever that distraction is, it's going to take you out if you don't do something about it.
Yeah.
And so I've hit that bottom. Financially, I hit the bottom. Physically, spiritually, I hit the bottom. It was at a place where God and I felt like God and I wasn't on the same terms at times.
Yeah.
But God had never left me. I just left him.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm saying, not that I know his story, but I very much know that in my own story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so, and also too with that, and I'll be quiet about it afterwards. But when you are going through things and you've made the mistakes, for some reason, Satan likes to keep you right in that place of having the wrong friends around you, to having the wrong personnel around you. Even when you think it's good, sounds good, looks good, it's not for you.
Yeah.
You'll know when it's of God. And that's where I've learned to recognize the difference of being able to see straight through people now.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like being at the bottom. I know what it's like looking up, trying to figure out how do I get back up there and get to that place where I'm supposed to be, where God has called me to be. So I've learned from that. And now the leadership skills that I've acquired and what's been instilled in me and what the walks that we've had to go through, that's one reason why I'm running for Congress, because I know people make mistakes. It's how you get through them and what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
So because I can relate to a lot of this.
Yeah. Well, what I love, Quincy, is, you're coming from real life business experience. You're a candid guy. You had failures, had success, but you've been able to build a business. And I think on the conservative side, and to be frank, on the Republican Party side, it's not true across the board, but it does seem that there's more people from real walks of life, former people in the military, like a Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah.
I think he was Navy SEAL, if I'm not mistaken. But, people who have done something real in the world, and they say, you know what, I've got something to offer here, and I want to see America live up to its founding ideals and be even better, be better than it's ever been before. So you get into a political role because you want to shape culture for the good.
Sure.
I feel like on the other side, we see a lot more career politicians. They're groomed to be a community organizer. They do that for years, and then eventually they begin to run. And it's like, well, you spent your whole life in politics. You're going to be a good talker.
Yeah.
But are the issues that you're actually presenting and the solutions, not the issues, the solutions, do they work? Yeah. And I think, what I love about what I've heard from you and heard from other, especially local representatives in Tennessee, is the good solutions. Yeah. Not just being able to articulate an issue and say, here's the emotional way we should feel. Yeah. It's like, no, here's what we should do. Yeah. Because it works mathematically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So our actions are more important than our words. So the days of talking are over, man. Yeah. That's been very, very prevalent in our political atmosphere right now. Because we're being hurt right now just by the existing administration. And what upsets me the most is that the conservatives out here that I know that are conservatives are not speaking up, saying anything about it. Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me.
Yeah. In my business, there's a lot of very successful, I'm in sales and I also do some project management. So it's construction industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that have some real clout in their communities who are in my business, and they feel it. They feel the heat. They see people being canceled. And I've told them, because I've just made a decision, like I'm going to speak up because I think in doing so, you give others permission, right? And now they're like, well, maybe I don't have to be afraid.
Yeah.
99% are afraid.
Yeah.
And, you could be afraid of, say, like a PayPal, or that would be a competitor of yours, I believe it would be. And they are kind of on attack mode, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I got two questions for you there. With your business, which is it a similar model to what PayPal does?
It is similar. They're more B2C, business to consumer, but we are B2B, business to business centered. But we take every type of business out there that does need to accept credit card and debit card processing.
Okay. And you're not canceling anybody, regardless of their political affiliation, right?
No, cancer culture lives over there at PayPal's world. So. Yeah.
Is it possible in your opinion? Because one of the ways that I feel that we can fight, and we've talked a little about this, is to be able to create our own, what do you call it?
Platform.
Our own alter economy.
Yeah.
So not just your platform, but across the board, because I don't know that you're ever going to change Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're ever going to change a lot of the main industries.
Yeah. It's funny you said that and brought that up because we've been in some recent talks with some wonderful people and wonderful corporations that we are getting ready to partner with. One particular, if you saw the other day on Fox a few nights ago, Skylab.
Okay.
You can look them up, and there are some wonderful people.
Isn't that a movie, Skylab?
No, I don't know if it was
Terminator
or something.
Go ahead, sorry.
But you stay in tune with what they're doing because they're looking to recreate a platform, an ecosystem where it's going to be more conducive for businesses like ours and people like you guys to come and to one place and harvest and reap the benefits of things versus worried about being shut off or cut down or cut off or whatever, all because you believe what you believe. And
not afraid to say it.
No, exactly.
Because who wants to live like in their hidey hole and never say what they believe?
Yeah.
And there's so many people doing it.
Yeah. It's a lot of that right now. So, it's it's so funny. I'm sitting back watching these businesses, complaining, sending tweets out, that they don't agree with so-and-so. So they've got 30 days to change their tune or their rhetoric. And then, these are types of messages that other large merchant processors in our industry have told people like Mike Lindell and these other companies out here to say, hey, you better shut that down or we're going to shut you down. And you start messing with people's way of life, man. Yeah. And it's just not right.
Yeah. Because Mike Lindell should be free to go make a documentary on what he thinks is election fraud.
It's his right. It's his right. Just like they talk about all the BLM movements, it's their right, their free. Hey, guess what? We got those same rights, except we actually live it under the Constitution. Yeah. And we actually follow rules. We don't break rules here.
That's part of what's being leveraged against us.
Yeah. It's like cancel culture now is that place where they want to easily, okay, the rules don't matter anymore. We're going to make some new rules. And really, I'm faulting all that back at home. I'm pointing those fingers and redirecting all that because a lot of the cancel culture, man, unfortunately, they don't have any mentors. They don't have any mentees that can say, hey, young man or young woman, this is how you really should be. This is who we are. This country was founded upon these principles.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the schools have gotten away from it. Our families we're not discussing it around the dinner tables anymore. We've gotten away from the traditional basic things that make us who we are.
Yeah. Quincy, on that same topic, I think I'm 70% sure it was you that wrote this or that said it. But it was something to do with it was your Facebook, China. You said, China's government and corporations are pretty interlaced. There's kind of a merging of those.
Yeah.
You made that point. I don't remember where you went with it, but all I could think was that's what's happening with the main institutions in America.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to be so embedded with government. And unfortunately for us, it seems like embedded with, the moment that liberal or Democrat politician is closing out their political career, maybe they lose, they get hired to be on the board of like a big company.
It's a plot, man. It's a plan. And we as Americans are not awoke enough to see it. And I've been saying this, and the reason why I'm seeing it is because my world, my payment processing, well, we're a global processor. So we're processing payments from Africa back to China, to the US every day. Mm-hmm. And I get questions and calls on what's this transaction about? What's that transaction? So I have to watch and be mindful of those types of things. And so it started to dawn on me that China they've been planning this stuff for a long time. We've just been so spoiled and so comfortable in our way of life. And all of a sudden we're missing stuff. We're missing the big picture of what's going on, because eventually China wants to become the America, except it's going to be communist controlled.
Sure.
That's where I'm at with it. That's what I believe. And we as Americans, we're not woke. We're not woke. You use the term stay woke. Well, guess what? We got to stay woke, because our politicians, a lot of our leaders, a lot of our businesses are sending their business overseas to China because they can get cheaper labor. And all they're doing is stealing our information and turning around and recreating it over there, and then coming back to America and repackaging it and making it look like, oh, got this new great idea. We just stole, but they just stole literally everything we done.
Yeah. It's funny because, you've got a lot of insight on that, being in the business that you are. I've always found it interesting and kind of obvious. Trump, from the very beginning of his original campaign back in 15, 16, he was coming out against China hard.
Yeah.
And me, like, not being that involved with politics or really following it that much, I knew that he was on target, but I didn't know how much.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just funny the way that, you have one president who is saying we have to really be on guard against China. Yeah. We got to stop losing these deals.
Yes.
And I think he had a lot of success during his 4 years
he did.
in terms of international relations, especially in terms of not getting screwed from China.
Correct.
And then we got a new president, and you could go into Hunter Biden and all of that stuff, but it seems to be this new president is kind of in bed with China to a degree.
Yeah, I feel like there's no accountability with the existing administration there, and quite frankly, I don't even think.
Well, the media won't hold them accountable.
No, they won't. They'll let them do whatever, and they'll try to cover up as much as they can. But the reality is that we're losing right now. America is losing to China. And that's from a technology standpoint, and almost financially, because one of the things that Trump was doing, he was putting accountabilities in place there. He knew from a businessman, and that's one of the things I respected about him, is that he was a businessman first. Mm-hmm. And he saw the big picture. He saw how much money we were giving out of this country, taking away taxpayers' money, man. I mean, we got folks over here suffering.
Yeah.
Right now. Businesses, small business owners suffering right now.
Yeah.
But yet we're sending millions and millions of dollars out of this country. And for what?
We're hemorrhaging.
Yeah. And then here we are mad at him. People there are minority business owners out here, and there are a lot of other people are mad at Trump or don't like his politics because they feel a certain way. And that's not right.
I think a lot of times that feeling it's not an organic feeling, like they really know the intricacies of who he is or what he's done, but it's beat into them so much that like, he's bad.
Yeah. And I'm not want to make this about Trump, because I'm not. But the bottom line is, anytime somebody gets in a position of power, whether it's on your job or you're going to look at your boss, everybody works for somebody. Right? Mm-hmm. You're going to you're going to try to size them up. You're going to try to evaluate, where do they come from? What do they stand for? These types of things. Well, guess what? Trump was that same guy. He was our president. He was our CEO, So you have to understand where he come from as a business person.
Yeah.
He is looking at things from a business lens, not from a community, efforts, because quite frankly, and I've shared this with many people that we have sit down and talks all the time. Trump's not a politician. He's not a politician. He is a businessman that saw the need to help America and keep America first. Period.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that I'm American-owned business. I can wake up tomorrow, and if I want to go open a business in Birmingham, Fort Lauderdale, Los Angeles, guess what? I have the power to do so without any restrictions.
Sure.
As long as I do what I'm supposed to do. So guess what? Everybody's got their revenue cycles to hit, their revenue reports. They got answers to meet. And the only thing that Trump was doing was setting accountability where our money was going, how much we got coming in, and why in the heck we're sending so much money out.
Yeah. Well, the big scary one with me right now, to get off of China or Trump, what Biden is doing right now with this most recent stimulus package, I think $1.9 trillion, something like that. Yeah. Like, okay, the coronavirus is this horrible, scary thing, according to them.
Yeah.
And all of the red tape around us as Americans.
Yeah.
And if you leave this country as an American to try to come back in, it's very difficult. Yeah. You have to get tested, all these things. But right now, if you're an illegal immigrant or, illegal alien, and you step one foot in the border, it's not a good situation for you, number one. We've seen the photos. So I'm not trying to say like they got it made.
Yeah.
But they are giving, they're giving quarter. They're the anchor for their parents to come in.
Yeah.
I heard even this morning that it's a much, much higher rate of COVID when they do test them right now. So and then I believe they're getting a large chunk of that stimulus package, the COVID relief bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? Like you said, Americans are hurting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we don't help if we can.
Well, quite frankly, I think that this is just a move that the Democrats are doing right now just to count on future votes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
unregistered Democrat voter, right?
Yeah, I mean, and so anytime, that's just what I believe, okay? And because for the life of me, I still cannot understand. And I don't think they can give me a logical explanation of, tell me again why you're allowing people to come into this country that are not Americans, that have not invested time, taxes, and built families here. Tell me again why you're giving them our money to come here, to start over, to, do whatever they're going to do here. I get it, because I'm all for everybody. We're human. We're all God's people. But guess what? We as God's people, we still have accountabilities and rules and regulations to follow. Yeah. And these people should be the same way. Yeah. They want to become an American citizen. They need to go through the proper channels.
Yep. And that's always been a thing. There is a port of entry. There's multiple ports of entry.
And it should not be where, I'm this or I'm that and I want to come to America. So, I mean, you guys saw the pictures. The media, they're showing all the lines of thousands of people lining up at our border to come here. And they're this might opening the gate and letting people come on in.
Yep.
But yet we got people here suffering and folks here they're illegal. Some and I use the word some because I don't know the exact number, but some of the illegal immigrants are receiving stimulus money. And it's not all of them, but it's some. And those numbers to me were outrageous when I saw them. I was like, why are they getting something?
And prison inmates, I believe.
Yeah, even
which they're not investing anything to our tax bank. I mean,
correct.
So what I think it's doing, it's decreasing the value of work.
Yeah.
For your average hardworking taxpayer. It's like my money's going where it shouldn't go.
Yeah.
I feel less free as I'm becoming canceled in my speech and everything else. So pretty soon, the value of being an American citizen, it ain't that great.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, if I'm being frank about it, I mean, I think you said the real game here is to get more votes.
Yes.
I also think the real game is almost like John the Baptist said about Jesus, I must become weaker so he can become greater.
Yeah.
I think it's America must become weaker so that the globalist agenda can become greater.
Yeah.
Now that may be a little far out for you, but for me,
it ain't. No, it's not, because it's a reason why God made America the greatest country on earth. It's a reason and a purpose, because he gives us the ideas. He gives us the resources to do what we do, live how we live, raise our families the way we do, have our freedoms of worship at all types of worship facilities across this world. It's the reason why he made America what he did, rich in resources.
All right. So Quincy, I got to ask, man, I have heard from so many of my conservative friends, Republican friends, that we've got to stand together and fight the ones who are willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I and a lot of other people think it's going to take almost all of us to face the beast that's out there in culture right now.
Correct.
Between the institutions, higher education, media, social media, news. It seems like this cultural Marxism has really done its job over the last 100 years.
Sure.
But it's put us in a place as conservatives of fear. And one of the main things I see within the church, and especially the Christian conservative type person that is derailing us, is our own theology. And it's this theology which is true to some degree. It's like Jesus said, hey, you will be persecuted.
Yeah.
Blessed are those who suffer. Blessed are those who mourn. And I think a lot of people are saying, well, we're in that place now. And in terms of end times, we're probably there. And they think the right thing to do is just teach your kids to learn how to live under persecution and be a good family, but just go in the corner. And I don't like that. I wasn't raised that way. I don't buy it. I feel like you don't either, or else you wouldn't be running.
That's right.
So what would you say to that person that's battling with this idea of persecution is the way it's going to be? Oh, well.
I would tell that person to understand his or her purpose. Go back and ask yourself, what's my purpose? Being a Christian, being a person of God, whatever you call yourself. But ask yourself the purpose of why I exist. And does God want me quiet? Does he want me to speak up? Does he want me to say something? God doesn't want us sitting in the corner. He doesn't want us doing that. And I encourage everybody to get off your hands. We've been sitting on our hands. Republicans been sitting on their hands for quite a long time. And so it's time to get off our hands and start speaking facts about who we are as a Christian, why God understands. Because we gotta understand, guys, that this is what we're battling now is beyond the world here. This is dealing with the Prince of Darkness.
Agreed.
This is dealing with the Prince of Darkness, man. This is dealing at realms that we should have been preparing ourselves for. This is battle. This is our war. This is our war. And God is, I think, we can almost learn a lot about ourselves right now if we were to take the time and figure out where can I make my mark at. How can
within your personality and who God made you to be.
Who you are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Find out your purpose. Who you are.
Yeah.
You know whose you are.
Yeah.
But dig in and get it and go.
Yeah.
Get around some good people that support you. Get involved in groups. Not hate groups. Not none of that stuff that's going to get you emotionally riled up. But actually, instead of sitting around having coffee all the time talking about stuff, because I guess, but we're being proactive about what we believe. We're following through with our words of what we would like to see the church do. Instead of Christians sitting back, just getting thrown in the wolves there. No, we've got to come out fighting here, man.
And a lot of that does have to do with faith, because if you know your purpose and God created you for a purpose, and you think, hey, I need to let my light shine. Now that may not be running for office, and it may not be even being an influencer or something online, but in your own way, you can always tell the truth, and you can not live by these cultural lies. Yeah. And when it's your turn to tell the truth, you tell it, even if it's quietly. You tell it, right?
Yes, and that's the thing about it. If it's kind of like, it reminds me of what Paul said in the Bible. You're gonna get mad because I tell you the truth. Yeah. What could you say after that? It's like when your parents.
He made a lot of people mad too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But guess what? That was the price that we have to pay as Christians. If you don't want to pay that price, you can't call yourself a Christian, because you're going to get, unless you want to remain quiet.
Yeah, and that's the persecution I think Jesus was talking about. Yes, sometimes people will come after you no matter what. Yeah. But he was also saying, the Great Commission. Yeah. If you're going to put yourself out there, people are going to hate you like they hated him. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
It's, hey, what's the scripture say? It says the laborers are few, but the harvest is plentiful. Yes. It's kind of like everybody wants the benefits of America, but they don't want to do the necessary steps to take to get to the benefits.
That's right.
They just want to skip past the process. Right. And they just want the outcome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we're being taught, especially this younger generation, is that there's all these words from our commercials to usually it's left-wing politicians.
Yeah.
You deserve health care. You deserve a free education. It's all about free and all about deserve.
Yeah.
So the benefit without the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The benefit without the pay.
Without the process. They want the outcome without the process.
Yes. And in my own life, and I'm sure in yours, anything that I at least had ever attained out of really hard work, and a lot of times maybe hitting the bottom and almost losing hope, but going one more day. Yeah. And then something great happens.
Yeah.
It's like what made the whole process beautiful was the difficulty, right? Was working through it. But I think, the younger generation just not being taught that.
Yeah.
And pulling back and looking at America as a whole. You mentioned before, if America's so bad, people can leave.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll say it again right here on your show. If you don't like America, if you don't like what it stands for, the hard work it takes, if you don't like the religious freedoms that we have, then guess what? The same entrances that you saw illegal immigrants coming into this country, we need to create an exit that's on the opposite side of the field that you can exit right out that gate and it can go right on out.
I doubt that'll be a heavily traveled exit.
No, it probably won't. But you see the long lines getting in, but nobody want to leave out. But yet you want to be over here still complaining.
Right. Quincy, the other thing I've seen is, this social justice message and all of, I've been hit over the head more with the word racism over the last, 10 years, but especially the last 4.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 has been nuts. Yeah. And it's just like racism. And, it's one thing if there's real racism that you're seeing in front of you, but now there's this idea of, systemic racism, which is like, if you're white, you don't even understand it anyway, so just shut up.
Yeah.
And, when you look at the a lot of the sources for that way of thinking, it's Marxism, it's cultural Marxism.
Yeah.
And, you see that in the leaders of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people getting worked up and hating America,
Yeah.
not understanding America's history, not understanding what Martin Luther King Jr. said about, hey, we are finally in the civil rights movement. We are now going to live up into the promissory note that is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights.
Correct.
But now they're wanting to erase and rewrite history, which, do you have anything to say on that?
I don't believe that we need to erase and rewrite anything. Because with every new culture, every new thing, it's going to be always something new. It's kind of like, a few years ago, it was the flag issue, it was the
kneeling or
no, the
Betsy Ross flag.
It was from the flag issues all the way down to now it's dealing with the president was racist. Now you're talking about business owners are racist. Everybody's getting freaking called a racist. Yeah, and it's just a cliche.
Well, that leads me to the question, because I never actually said the question. I just gave a little diatribe there. But so especially white America, we're the only lives that you can't put a sign in your yard. You can do Asian, you can do Hispanic, you can do Black. So white people are afraid of being under that blanket of the great national shame of racism. Yeah. So I think a lot of Christians are confused by I can't really speak up as a conservative because I'll be called a racist. So they don't. Right. And so they have no influence over their friends. And I think it's very well done on the part of the left. It's by design. Yeah. But what I've found is, and I met a guy, I'll show you the video in a minute, but I met a guy in D.C. on January 6th, young guy, and he said, hey, I thought Trump was a racist. I didn't like that president. Yeah. And then I did my own research. Yeah. And I heard it from him. I've heard it over and over again from Black conservatives. Right. That's like, I finally took the time to do my own research. Your own research, yeah. All right, I'm here with Brandon Baker. I saw this man on he was holding a megaphone. He was shouting out, "Stop the Steal." And I just wanted to ask you, Brandon, what brings you here today and gives you your passion?
Well, I'm young, I'm only 21 years old. I just started researching politics last year. So I first didn't like Trump. I didn't like this president at all because of what the media was pushing on him and all the narratives they were trying to get me to believe. So I started doing my own independent research like I usually do to find out why I don't like this president. What's the problem with this president? Is he really a racist? And when I started doing my own independent research, I found out that everything they're pushing on him is a lie. He passed HBCU, which funded Black colleges over $10 million, something Obama never did. Passed prison reform in prisons that are filled with Black lives. Filled. He passed prison reform saving so many black lives from being arrested for so long for nonviolent offenses. You know what I'm saying? All these other politicians are trying to put people in prison. Trump tried to take them out. You know what I mean? What kind of racist would do that? In a prison full of black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. They're trying to push these fake narratives.
You know, what would you say to the white conservative who's afraid to speak out for fear of racism or some other ism?
I believe that God gave us a mouth to use. And if you want to stand up and speak your truth, then you speak your truth. But we have to do everything in love. All right? So if I have white friends that want to stand up and say some things about it, but they're afraid, then I always encourage them to say what they need to say. Because, again, these things start in our mind. And if we never get them out, we're going to continue to believe things in our heart. And we'll change as people. You know? So I encourage people to continue to talk about them, but don't just talk about it amongst yourself. Actually get with other people of other ethnicities. And ask questions. Yeah. Don't be afraid.
Well, that's like when you first came over here, before we even started shooting the video, I didn't know where you stood exactly on some of these particular issues. And I said, hey, man, I don't want to overstep, but I've got to say this. I've got to ask you.
And you say it.
And I just said it. You know, and you know, push comes to shove, I think we're mostly in the same camp on this. But I mean, if you don't put it out there, then you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and this is what I tell anybody, you know, if you want promises, if you want promotions and pretending, then stay in the Democratic Party. Because that's not who we are. Yeah. That's not who I am. You know, I believe in standing up for what you believe. And a lot of my Democratic friends, I feel like a lot of them don't stand up for what they believe. They just want to give opinions. Oh, well, Trump's racist because of this. Or our governor is racist because of this. I mean, everything is racist, man. I mean, and I'm so sick of hearing it.
Well, using Trump as an example. So, like on that video that we watched, you know, that young man said, hey, I did my research. And
did your research.
He said, I found out that, Trump instituted prison reform, which I forget the name of the bill. He gave $10 million to HBCUs, which is more than like any other president ever. Yeah. There were all these things. Also, the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate of blacks and Hispanics right before COVID-19 came into the country was the lowest it's ever been. Yeah. Those are things racists don't do, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's kind of like if you look at the First Step Act of what the president did.
That's prison reform, right?
Yes.
First Step Act. Okay.
First Step Act, it relieved so many black families. Relieved them mentally because it was so many years of wrong being done to that family member, and because of the First Step Act, they were released. And if you guys go back and look at his State of the Union address 2 years ago, the blacks that he recognized that were part and result of the First Step Act that he nationally recognized, right there in the audience. Go back and read and look at that stuff. See, there are things, and even at the White House, there are videos out here, guys, that show where the President Trump, where he invited them to the White House, gave them 30 seconds to say and make their peace.
We're also proud to have with us on stage 5 more Americans who have been released under the First Step Act and transformed their lives. And that includes Gregory Allen. Where's Gregory? Gregory. Hi,
Gregory. Mine is real short. 2 months ago, I was in a prison cell, and I'm in the White House. Let's continue to make America great again.
That's great.
You see?
No, I remember it.
There were videos, but CNN didn't show that stuff. MSNBC didn't show that stuff. Nobody was showing the realities and facts of things. And that's the part of what the left America don't want you to see. They don't want you to see because they did their job of labeling people as racist. That was their whole intent. If we label them as racist, then cancel culture will come and they will satisfy that for us.
Cancel them.
Yeah, period.
And then the common man becomes afraid.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they labeled Mike Lindell as a racist. Yeah. You know, no, I can call Mike right now on my phone. He answers my call. I mean, not because of all this happened. I was talking to him prior to this. I mean, I'm a black man. Last time I looked in the mirror, I'm a black man. But I just stand on what I believe.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be that way. I don't care. I mean, because I expect ridicule, even as a minority conservative. I mean, I get attacked on social media about things, but my skin is tough. Mm-hmm. You know, I knew that was going to. This is part of the territory. I want to be in Congress. I want to be a leader. It's just like being a business leader. You got to make difficult decisions. You're not going to be the most popular person, but the decision has to be made.
Right.
And somebody's got to hold that decision out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by doing what you're doing, you're giving more and more people permission. I mean,
that's it.
That's what I want to do with this platform. That's what you're already doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I respect all the people that have the podcast interviews, that's having these type of movements, social media movements where more conservatives are coming out, because that's one good thing that I've seen more black conservatives coming out.
Yeah.
At record numbers.
Well, didn't Trump double the black vote? Or very close to doubling. And that's another thing. They don't tell you that on CNN.
Yeah, they don't want to know.
Because that's an embarrassment.
Yeah,
right?
You got people like Don Lemon setting up, criticizing every single time. I mean, it's kind of like my good friend Vernon Jones. Vernon Jones has asked Don Lemon, hey, give me some time on air. But they won't do it.
Isn't that sad?
Because they know not to touch certain areas.
Yeah.
You know,
then they know Vernon's too smart. He's
not just that, but him and Congressman Owens, Burgess Owens out of Utah, same thing. At CPAC, we had wonderful conversations with people, open dialogue, but nobody wants to address the facts. All they want to do is sell emotions, and have cancel culture to follow that path and get labeled. So I encourage people out here, man, don't be worried about being called a racist, because you're going to get everything. You're going to get called everything but a child of God. It doesn't matter as long as you're living on this earth.
You're right. You got it, man. Well, we may not. I don't know if we picked it up earlier. Quincy, in terms of the fight for people like you and I that want to be out there, want to be on, have a platform.
Yeah.
Do you see the way as continuing to try to push within the system, like within the Facebooks and Twitters and all that, or creating our own like alter economy?
Yeah, I believe that having an alter economy is always good, because again, we don't know we see what the left media is doing and where they want to shut down every single thing anything that's relative to do with traditional family values, dealing with the Constitution, anything that seems right, they want to go wrong with it. Mm-hmm. So having an alternative is always good. And so there, recently I had an opportunity to meet with some wonderful people from Skylab. And if you watched a few nights ago on Fox, they rolled out, they got announced a little bit. So, and I'm putting them on blast now. So kill me later, Rocky. But there have been some great efforts and wonderful efforts that are getting ready to hit the airwaves here in the next couple of months that have been working on, and I'm very proud to say that we're involved with Skylab. So
this is a Skylab plug.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
right. Looking out for that.
It is. Yeah, it is. And just go back and start pulling it up and looking at it, because it's going to be some good stuff.
Okay.
And we're not trying to cancel anybody. We're
never.
Yeah, we're always open for business. and so closing down what we don't need in, and opening the doors for those who are. So
that's good. Well, give yourself a plug real quick. So if people want to follow you, Quincy McKnight, where do they go?
You can check me out, QuincyForCongress.com. Right now, it's just set up as a donation page, but in the near future, there will be more things coming out showing about our events, where I stand on certain things, and the policies and procedures of what we're wanting to discuss within District 5 and also for the United States of America. So it also will show a lot about more of in-depthness of who I am, the conversations that we have, the in-depth conversations. We're going to do things a little different, because we believe in grassroots, and I was raised that way as a conservative. I've always been raised as a conservative. So I look forward to your response and feedback. You can find me on social media if you want to, friend me, request me, all that good stuff, and we'll just go from there.
That's great, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.